streak down onto the main section of the track. Francis Pelletier gets the stud boy hole shot on the Makita Rockstar Skidoo, and it looks like Hunter Patnode trying to arc alongside of him now as they work that rhythm section. So Patnode, with a good launch, tucks in the number 2 spot. Three-way battle now for second, third, and fourth. Here comes Jacob Yerk.
Jacob Yerk, a rider who does so well here in the brisk cold. That is where he feels like he has a strength compared to the heat that we had just the other weekend. We have a rider down just ahead of the auction block straight away.
That might have been Logan Christian getting off his sled, and Logie getting back on and getting going once again as Pelletier continues to hold on to the lead, streaking away from Patnode. Emil Haar in third, Jacob Yerk fourth, Cody Camp rounding out your top 5. Early on, let's take another look at what happened to Logan Christian. Just a little Tommy tip over there on the Ram Trucks turn.
Little accidental contact with Cody Cam there. No harm, no foul. Logan Christian able to refire, but just one of those racing things as we see Francis Pelletier, who's really finding a bit of an early mid-season stride here, looking dominant in this qualifying run.
Yeah, it's a learning curve when you move up from the Pro Light class to the Amsoil Pro class, and Pelletier just wasn't getting the results for the Hornet Racing team that he was certainly hoping for. But last round in Deadwood, he wound up on the podium. And then the most recent round here at Fargo, he was bad fast as well, and he continues to show the way in this Amsoil Pro qualifier as he launches off the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Cody Camp has just pulled off the track with a mechanical issue, so not a good qualifying effort for Cody and the Henches Racing Monster Energy Pertex sponsor Polaris.
That's tough. It's been a big season of high highs and low lows so far for Cody Camp, but Francis Pelletier with some serious Makita power. He did have an issue yesterday, I believe in the second qualifying run, had an issue with his thumb, the throttle. After coming in contact with his knee, they broke it, but they were able to get him back on track for the final where he did pretty well.
And there's Hunter Patnode in second. Patnode and Francis Pelletier, those two went to war several times in Pro Light last year, each of them getting their share of wins. Pelletier on the way to picking up that Pro Light championship last season.
Yes, tremendous battles, and one of the most heated rivalries we've seen between Hunter Patnode and Francis Pelletier. And Hunter Patnode, we caught some interviews with him today just talking about his expectations he has for himself. Regardless of the fact he stepped up to pro this year, in his head he cannot seem to shake the expectation that I need to be on the box each and every time. Now, he started off the season so hot, and he's been struggling with results, been around the top 10, maybe just outside the top 10, and a DNF in there. So it's been a bit of a struggle for him, but with those things, you have to have a short-term memory. You got to be able to reset. Each day is a new day, and that's how Hunter Patnode's looking at this.
And the Sharing Speed Sports skidoos of he and teammate Lincoln Lemieux, they've definitely had a fast tune in them here at Red River Valley Speedway in Fargo as Patnode maintains the number 2 spot. He's about 5 seconds behind Francis Pelletier. Pelletier ripping off the inside of the Polaris turn, working his final lap as he heads up toward the skidoo corner, tripling his way in.
And it's so impressive to see what Francis Pelletier is able to do, not only with clean air, but when he and the team are able to get all the pieces together they need to. The sled is fast when he's been able to stay clear of Mayhem and Mechanicals, looking so strong out there. The Warner Racing ride as he is going to cross the finish, take the checkers for Francis Pelletier.
So Pelletier wins this Amsoil Pro qualifier. Hunter Patnode will finish second. Emil Haar will come away with the third. They'll be followed by Jacob Yerk and Logan Christian. So good run for Francis Pelletier in this opening round of Amsoil Pro qualifying as he heads over to the tech area to get the sled checked out before he goes back to the pit area and gets ready for his second round qualifier. Heat number 2 for Amsoil Pro is ready to roll. Let's get a pre-race update from Josie.
It is sitting at -10 degrees out. This is very brisk weather for these riders. But going to that start line, you'll see the mechanics throwing snow on what's called the tunnel of the sled. Think the back of the sled. This is going into the tunnels, allowing the coolant to cool down the motor. You want to think hot pipe, cold motor. This is the ideal conditions for these sleds in this weather.
So lined up for the second Amsoil Pro qualifier, we'll have Oscar Norm, Aki Palaya, Elias Ischel, Lincoln Lemieux, Adam Redheim, Trent Whitwer, Cole Katu, and Kyle Polina. Look at Aki Palaya. Aki posted on his Facebook page that he dinged his back up yesterday.
He did. That was super tough. He's been charging hard, but I know these riders are tough, and especially at this point in the season, you're starting to see more and more riders just getting banged up, bruised up, and some of that residual from the previous rounds. Not a lot of time to recover with this aggressive schedule, so it's definitely tough to see a rider battling some back pain out here, but I know he's as tough as they come.
Elias Ischel, your winner, 1 round to go in Amsoil Pro, added to his point lead. And then there was a shuffle of the deck between Oscar Norm and Lincoln Lemieux for second and third in the point standings. Their roles were reversed. Norm now the runner-up in the points coming into tonight, but Ischel has a comfortable lead built up, but he's not one to rest on his laurels. The Viking Rocket will be looking to find the top step of the podium again here tonight in Fargo.
And in this one, we have from R12 Designs TND Racing, Trent Whitwer, who actually had his first pro podium last evening. He said ahead of this race, he actually got a cortisone shot in his wrist to be able to help with that wrist pain that actually had him sitting out that second night in Deadwood.
Good takeoff for everybody as they drop in. Looks like Lincoln Lemieux will power out there along with Aki Palaya. Palaya grabs the stud boy hole shot. Lemieux will be on the outside of the Polaris turn. Let's see if he can translate that to a run up the rhythm section here as he takes aim at race leader Palaya. Palaya will lead as Ischel moves up into the number 3 position.
Closely contested by Lincoln Lemieux taking the outside line, and we have contact.
Ischel off the sled, got it sideways, and Kyle Polina, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time. The two of them are going to be tangled up, and that's going to result in a less than desirable result in this qualifier. And Aki Palaya will pull it off the FXR turn with Lincoln Lemieux in tow in second. Oscar Norm now finds himself in third.
And we see our top 3 spreading out just a little bit. We're going to take a look back at what happened.
Now here's Elias Ischel, gets it twisted, might have gotten some contact from the back from Norm. Hard to tell from that angle, but it threw him sideways and clean, nowhere to go.
That's right, we see our leader Aki Palaya out front, who you mentioned fighting off some pain here. Lincoln Lemieux closing that gap. He has really cut into that lead here on the last lap.
Oh, watch over that auction block rhythm section, and now over the Amsoil finish line jump, coming into the FXR turn. Lemieux wants the outside. Palaya occupies the lane, and Lemieux has to hang back there to not get blasted in the face with that icy roost. So he'll seek an alternate line here again, going to the outside of the Polaris turn. Wanted to get the run up this rhythm section through these deep whoops to try to get alongside Palaya, but Aki continues to hold him off on his Theme Motorsports Skidoo.
And we'll see if the Shearing Speed Sport ride of Lincoln Lemieux is going to be able to pull any veteran moves on Aki Palaya. Lemieux, one of our veterans in this class, he's been pro since 2014, 2015, a number of wins to his credit, as well as Aki Palaya, but Aki's only been racing pro since 2018, 2019, so we're going to see if any of that experience comes into play here, but 2 very tough competitors nonetheless.
And obviously those top 2 need to stay up on the horse. You might have seen Oscar Norm starting to creep into the frame there behind Lemieux, as Norm was a distance back, but his hench is racing Polaris with a hot setup here, and he is starting to draw in on Lemieux. So what was Lemieux battling for the lead may turn into Lemieux defending the second position from Oscar.
And what we are seeing from Oscar this weekend is, of course, he has been fast. He's been consistent. He's been on the box, grabbing hole shots, qualifier wins. But what we're seeing him crank up this weekend is in the aggression department. And it's all been good, clean racing, but he's not afraid to get in there, elbows up.
They'll crank off the FXR turn here, a few sled lengths behind Lemieux as we're working into the final couple of laps in this Amsoil Pro qualifier. Everybody doing a triple single down that Arctic Cat straightaway. And here's the battle for second. Norm up alongside, and Lemieux able to fend off the challenge. There was a little contact in the air between those two. Lemieux will power off the outside here and get across the U.S. Air Force flyaway triple. So he holds off the challenge from Oscar Norm for the moment, but Norm is going to gear up and take another shot at him here as they come to the white flag.
This is not over. This last lap is going to get interesting. Norm is going to continue to force the issue here. Let's see if he can gain a little bit of ground. It looks though as Lincoln Lemieux was able to gain a little bit of ground over Norm in this last lap.
Yeah, Oscar tried the inside lane there, the FXR turn over the braking bumps. Thought it might be better to go the shorter distance, but Lemieux was able to get the power first on the outside. Meanwhile, Aki Palaya will lead him now as they come over the Air Force flyaway for the final time. He's got to make it through this Ram Trucks turn down through the auction block rhythm section, and he will pick up a win in the Amsoil Pro Qualifier. So he may not have been feeling good last round, but he's feeling good now. Aki Palaya picks up an Amsoil Pro Qualifier win. Lincoln Lemieux will hold off Oscar Norm in the race for second and third. They're followed by Adam Renheim and Cole Coutu. Then it's Trent Whitworth, Kyle Pauline, Elias Ischel finishing at the back of the order after their tangle up. Quick time out here, and when we come back, we'll be into round